Suharu Maru likes his classmate Shirokusa Kachi, who is very popular and also a writer. They become friends. He's also friends with Kuroha Shida, who recently told him she liked him, but he turned her down because he likes Kachi. One day, Maru hears that Kachi is dating someone else named Mitsuru Abe. This makes him very sad. Shida comes to help him feel better and suggests they pretend to be in a relationship to make Kachi jealous and show off. Shida also wants to get closer to Maru and make him like her. Maru tries to find some bad things about Abe, but he can't. Abe even knows that Maru used to be a child actor and confronts him about it. Abe tells Maru that he knows Maru was once a famous child actor and inspired him to become an actor. Abe says he's dating Kachi as a way to get back at Maru because he learned that Maru liked her. He plans to confess his feelings to Kachi at the upcoming school festival. Maru wants to outshine Abe, so he suggests that their class performs a play at the festival. He talks Kachi into writing the play, even though Shida surprises everyone by revealing their fake relationship to the class. While they practice for the play, Maru suddenly gets really anxious and faints. When he wakes up, Kachi is there. She knows about his past as an actor and asks why he quit. Maru tells her that his mother died in an accident on the set, and it traumatized him, so he left acting. Kachi then shares something surprising. She and Maru used to be friends when they were kids. Maru knew her as Shiro because her dad was Maru's co-star. Maru encouraged her to keep writing, but when their show got canceled, they couldn't see each other anymore. Kachi felt hurt and decided to become a great writer as a way of getting back at Maru for leaving her. It turns out that Maru was her first love, just like she is for him. At the start of the confession festival, Kachi, disguised as Shiro, visits Maru, who's really happy to see him again. When she realizes he still remembers his promise to act in one of her stories, Kachi reveals her true identity. She admits that she felt jealous because Maru was always with Shida, and she wanted him to notice her. She offers him support and suggests that he should be friendlier with her. As she leaves, Shida, who was eavesdropping, confronts Kachi. The two girls make it clear that they both like Maru and want to be with him. Maru and Shida walk around the festival together, and Shida ends their fake relationship, with tears in her eyes, encouraging Maru to make his own choice. During the closing ceremony, Abe performs a song and dance for Kachi, but Maru arrives and steals the show. Instead of confessing his feelings to Kachi, he confesses his initial plan for revenge and admits that he did love her. However, he ultimately confesses his feelings to Shida, who has always been there for him. This shocks Shida and devastates Kachi. Surprisingly, Shida happily rejects Maru. Later, Maru's friend Kai and Abe talk about how Abe played the role of the bad guy as Kachi's fake boyfriend to get Maru to confess. They also realize that Shida rejected Maru out of revenge for being rejected herself and now regrets it. They both feel that everyone lost in this situation. Meanwhile, a girl watches a video of the performance on her phone and recognizes Maru. Maru is still feeling very upset because his confession didn't work out, and the girls are also sad about how things turned out. Maru finds out that his friend Kai uploaded the video of his performance and confession, and it has become really popular, which annoys him even more. Then, a famous actress named Maria Momosaka, whom Maru had mentored before, shows up. She's really happy to see Maru again, which makes Kachi and Shida annoyed. Kai also introduces Maru to Rina Asaji, a helpful first-year student. Kachi comes and seems like she wants to ask Maru out, but her friend Mako Mine clarifies that her father wants to see Maru because he heard about his return to acting. Shida reappears, still very upset about the rejection. Maru hides behind Kachi, which makes Shida leave in tears. Both Maru and Shida are getting support from Kai as they try to figure out what they want. When Maru gets home, he finds Momosaka there, and she's made dinner. She tells him that their agency, now run by the previous head's son, wants Maru to return to acting, and they also want Shida to come back. Just then, Shida's siblings show up and tell Maru that Shida has amnesia. After some playful moments with Momosaka and Shida's siblings, the sisters reveal that Shida has lost all her memories since she confessed her feelings to Maru. Even though Maru still finds it challenging to get closer to her after the rejection, he decides to help her in any way he can. Shida herself says she wants to start over to rebuild their trust. Kachi comes to give Maru and Shida a ride, and she senses that Shida might be faking the amnesia because of jealousy. So Maru comes up with a plan to test it. During lunch, he gives Shida a bento with octopus wieners. Shida is supposed to be sensitive to that taste, due to a traumatic incident from their past, but she eats it without any trouble. As they talk about Maru potentially returning to acting, Kachi and Kai come in to share their opinions. Kai wants to make videos with his entertainment club, with Kachi writing scripts, and he tries to convince Maru to agree. To make a decision, Maru goes to visit the agency, and Shida, Kachi, Kai, and Momosaka go with him. The president, Shun Hardy, tempts them with a deal worth over $100 million. However, Shida still turns down the offer. Hardy keeps insisting and insults her over it. Maru takes a stand and pours a bottle of wine over Hardy in retaliation. After Hardy threatens to call the police, Kachi's dad and Momosaka make a deal. They suggest a competition. Maru's group, the Ultramarine Alliance, and the agency will each make a commercial for a pharmaceutical company. If the alliance wins, they can do what they want, but if they lose, Maru has to join the agency. Momosaka decides to act in the agency's commercial to show Maru how much she's grown. Despite some doubts at first, the Ultramarine Alliance ends up winning the competition, and Maru decides to stick with them. Later, we find out that Shun is Kei's dad, and he joined the alliance and became friends with Maru just to get revenge on him. After escaping the agency contract, Momosaka transfers to Maru's class, which annoys Shida and Kachi. That night, Maru catches Shida in a lie, confirming that she faked her amnesia. Maru and Shida have a big fight about Shida lying to him about her amnesia. Maru can't understand why she did it in the first place. At the same time, Kachi and Kag make a plan to get ahead in a race to win Maru's affection. The boys at the Ultramarine Alliance suggest a trip to Okinawa to make some summer memories. The girls initially say no to filming in their swimsuits, but they reluctantly agree when that idea is dropped. Because she has to watch her sisters, Shida has to come with them the next day. Later that night, Eoi comes to help Maru, and she gives him advice about the magic of travel and being careful about getting close to someone in that setting. Kachi checks in with Kai, and we find out that Rina is Kei's half-sister, and they want to keep their family connection a secret. The group, along with Momosaka's sister Eri, gets ready for the trip. Kachi and Momosaka argue about their cooking skills and decide to have a competition. They decide to have a hot pot competition, but Kachi feels sad because she's not good at making hot pot, and she wanted to cook fried chicken, which is Maru's favorite food. Momosaka overhears Maru and Kai talking about his feelings for Kachi and Shida, so she tries to come up with a plan to get closer to Maru. The group arrives at Kachi's family's villa, and they start to relax. Shida tries to hold back her jealousy, thinking about how close the other girls might be getting to Maru. Later, Maru gets a text from Kachi asking to meet her privately on a separate part of the beach. She shows off her swimsuit in a seductive way. The rest of the group spies on them and stops them before things go too far. Kachi tries to practice their dance routine but runs into some trouble. That night, Kachi sadly goes back to the beach, where Maru comforts her and they talk about her worries. They almost kiss, but Maru remembers Aoi's advice and stops. The next morning, Maru wakes up to Shida and her sisters. The sisters arrive, and Maru and Shida continue to act unfriendly towards each other. Shida decides to confront Maru and tells him she won't forgive her until she apologizes. She takes a more direct approach by constantly saying "I love you" to him throughout the day, making Maru feel flustered. But when they work on their study sessions later, Maru realizes how much extra work Shida put into the assignment for him, and he starts to appreciate her more. While setting up the stage for the girls' performance, Akane expresses her confusion about seeing Maru with so many other girls. Later that night, Maru sees Kachi practicing the dance, even though she slightly sprained her ankle earlier. He cheers her on, and at the same time, Akane secretly watches them. Aoi figures out that Akane has developed a crush on Maru, but she's been trying to avoid it to avoid getting hurt. The next day, the girls put on a successful performance. When Kachi almost falls off the stage, Maru saves her but ends up breaking his arm in the process. Back at school, Abi meets with Kad to talk about what's been happening. Kai thinks Kachi is currently ahead in the race because she's the type of girl Maru likes. Maru learns that Kachi and her maid will be moving in to take care of him, which makes Shida uncomfortable. Shida and Momosaka want to spend the night at Maru's place with Kachi, but their parents don't give permission. Aoi and Akane also start to keep their distance from Maru, which makes him sad. As they leave, Kachi tells Shida that she plans to use this situation to get closer to Maru. Kachi's maid, Shion Araji, warns Maru not to get any ideas and says that Shida is only doing things out of respect. Momosaka starts her first day at their school, and she spends all her free time flirting with Maru, making the other boys jealous and annoying Kachi. During lunch, Kachi feeds Maru, and he feels confused because of what Aragi said. He talks with Shida on the roof, and they start to make up. Kai tells the Ultramarine Alliance that they've received an offer for a documentary series about Maru's life since his disappearance. Shida is unsure, but Kai convinces Maru by asking if he wants to get closure on his own terms. They come up with a plan to compromise by having the Alliance produce the documentary themselves. They also decide to film a new version of the final scene from Maru's previous drama, Child King, which he agrees to do. Later, the girls meet up to discuss setting boundaries so they can't openly flirt with Maru. They also come up with a plan to get closer to him through the documentary. The group finds out that some tabloids are printing stories about Maru's past. Kai thinks Shun Hardy might be behind this. Despite the stories, they still want to go ahead with the documentary and the real ending, which is now supported by Collect Japan TV. Momosaka suggests that each of the girls interviews Maru because they all have a connection to his past. Kachi goes first and invites him to her home. They talk about their old friendship and how Maru helped her get over her nervousness. They end up going on a date to Tokyo Tower. The next day, it's Momosaka's turn. She takes Maru to the place where his mother died to help him deal with his feelings about the incident. She wants to support him during his tough times. However, when Maru talks about his loneliness after his mother's death, Momosaka breaks down. She feels guilty about the hurtful things she said to him back then, and it makes Maru, who initially thought he couldn't cry, start to tear up. They hug each other. After coming back home, Momosaka continues to show her interest in Maru. At school, Kai tells everyone that because the other actors from Child King have retired, Shida and Kachi will be acting alongside Maru and Momosaka in the true ending. Shida walks home with Maru, and she thinks about her life with him, and when she started to fall for him, she takes him to an old hiding spot they used to go to, and they talk about their good memories. Shida confesses her love to Maru again and explains that she rejected him as revenge for being rejected initially. Maru is relieved to hear the reason, but when she asks for his answer, he can't respond right away because he still has feelings for Kachi and Momosaka. Before he can answer, Shida stops and realizes what he's thinking. She suggests they become childhood friends, a promise to stay close to each other while keeping things open if their feelings change in the future. After the documentary is released, Abe goes to see Kai again and reveals the girls' scheming and Shida's plan. Abe thinks that Kai won in the end. Later, Maru learns that there's a fan club for him at school, and he feels a bit embarrassed. The girls plan to make sure the fan club doesn't get in their way.